At least one of the candidates in this race wants to raise taxes on I guess the super rich is one way to put it, an estate tax that would zoom up for some folks, the Democrats say very few folks, to 65%. The estate tax right now is 40% based on about a $5.5 million estate. Hillary Clinton already wants to raise that to 45% and cut that down to about a $3.5 million estate. Anything over that, of course, taxes go up in increments. Now it's going to be at around 50%, then 55, then 60, then, as I said, the top rate is 65%. This on top of a surtax for the wealthy, a millionaire's tax, a tax if you work at Fox. No, I'm just kidding. Just to make the point that that's a lot of taxes. And over the course of 10 years, a number of groups that have been crunching these numbers say it works out to about $550 billion. All right, so what would the fallout be of that, Brian Westbury? Also very good crunching numbers. Brian, I will give Hillary Clinton her due to say at least she's now putting how she plans to pay for this big government out there. Critics say Donald Trump is not. Leaving that aside, though, wow. I mean, just hearing the number, 65%, just knowing whether it's worth you, I know the definition of that will change, as will the percentage.
Right. Yeah, well, there's two ways that I kind of think about this, Neil. And the first way is just the operational way. Let's say I own a little lumber yard and I sell lumber to local builders. And I have salespeople, I have employees, I have people work in the yard. But I've built up some wealth over the years. It's over $3.5 million. I own the land. I own my inventory. And I want this business to keep running. I want my son, my daughter, my family to run this business. That means I have to pay for a really big insurance policy to pay those taxes, the 65% that she's going to charge me. And every dime I spend on that insurance policy means I can't hire a salesperson. I can't pay my salespeople as well. So what happens is we actually limit the growth of companies because they face this tax later on, and they're thinking about how to keep this company alive. These kinds of taxes kill small business in America. And then the second point I would make is that if we went and taxed 100% of the wealth of the Forbes 400, the top 400 richest people in America, we could only run our government for 3 months. And then what do you do after that? Right? Because there's nothing left.
And by the way, we should also point out that these are static numbers of the time being. That $3.5 million, a lot of people are saying, well, if it's going to start at $3.5 million, who cares? I remember it used to be a big deal when I was a kid. I'm revealing my age here, but when you spoke of homes eventually going to $100,000, they thought you're nuts. Yeah. All right, now that's commonplace. All right, the same with the idea of someone who earned, or a household earning $100,000. It used to be, in our dreams. Again, much more common. So if it's a static number that isn't adjusted for inflation, we've learned that from the graduated tax that a lot of folks have, that they're ensnared in these higher taxes. And unless this is adjusted, which it doesn't look like it is, more than a few are going to be paying that bill.
Yeah, absolutely. Family farms. I mean, it's easy to have a family farm worth millions and millions of dollars, you know, especially as urban areas sprawl and the farmland becomes worth more, all of this kind of stuff. So people get caught in it. And the key here for me is if I were to start a business, I mean, I work for a company, but if I had a grocery store or a car wash or a laundry, a dry cleaning place, or like I said, a lumber yard, I would hope that I could pass that down to my children if they wanted to do it. And these kinds of taxes keep that from happening. I mean, the whole idea, all these taxes, all of this liberal dream is that we've reached our peak, we can't make any more, so now we just have to spread it evenly. And every time we do that, we limit the ability of the pie, of the economy to grow. It's not a fixed pie. You have to leave the money in the system. And one of the key things here is, you know, the reason the U.S. economy is growing so slow today, even though we have fracking in the cloud and smartphones and tablets, and we've cracked the genome, and we have 3D printing and vertical farming and all of these great technologies. We're robbing those technologies by taxing and redistributing the wealth that they create. That's why the U.S. economy is growing slow. And I heard you make a point earlier, Neil, that neither candidate right now has really talked about cutting spending. And if we don't cut spending, you'll never be able to raise taxes high enough to pay for this government. It's just way too big.
You said it brilliantly, far better than I. Brian Westbury, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.